now we have like introduction for the next session today. So in our next session, we will be taking this product management thought further, right? And see how we can actually scale products from zero to a market fit, from zero to hero. We have with us three panelists who have each kind of taken their product in some shape or the other, found a good market for it, and then scaled that product into to success, right? Like, firstly, I want to introduce Roopa Jayaraman. She's the Chief Technology Officer at Odessa, where they have scaled a deep tech platform for asset financing, so for financing auto loans, things like that, right? And finding out how we can use deep tech around that area. Our second speaker for the day is Sonal Goyal. She's the founder for Zingg.AI, where they're scaling the products based on deep tech, based on data quality, data matching, pattern matching, finding relationships between different entities, and so on. And they have scaled that product to success. Our third speaker for the day is Mythily Ramesh. She's the co-founder and CEO of NextWealth, where they have scaled deep tech services with a very unique model. It's a very unique model of distributed service delivery with hubs in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and how you can build a distributed deep tech service delivery capabilities from those cities, right? Such as Salem, Bilai, and so on. So over to you, my fellow panelists, on zero to hero, navigating the deep tech journey to product success.
So very excited to be here. Thank you, Amol. So this is a topic which is very close to our hearts, and I'm sure Mathili and Roopa are equally excited. I'm Sonal. I'm the founder at Zingg. We have a data management product which uses cutting-edge machine learning to build the identity graph for an enterprise. Let's just learn about our fellow panelists, and we'll go from there.
Should we go, Sonal?
Yes, Mathili?
So, yeah, good afternoon to everyone, and very happy to be here today and very excited about the topic that we have for the day. My name is Mythily Ramesh. I'm the co-founder and CEO at NextWealth. I have about 34 years of experience. First 20 years in Wipro, more on the services side, and then moved from Wipro on to start an organization called NextWealth, which is focusing on AI/ML data services, but in tier 2, tier 3 cities and in small towns with the social impact as a focus. And probably I'll talk a little bit about it more later. Over to you, Roopa.
Great to be part of today's session. Very exciting topics ahead of us, and really nice to be part of this esteemed panel with Sonal and Mythily. My name is Roopa Jayaraman, and I am the CTO at Odessa. I'm responsible for the product and technology roadmap and driving our cross-functional teams to deliver our platform to our global customers. Odessa is a leading platform used in the asset finance space. Prior to Odessa, been part of the B2B enterprise software for over 2 decades, and the scaling product mindset and engineering mindset is something that's very close to my heart, and very excited to be talking today to share how we can use the same constructs to scale deep tech globally. Before we get started, maybe just as a matter of kicking off, Sonal, I know as a founder of a deep tech product organization, which operates at enterprise scale, I would really like to maybe understand from you, what does deep tech mean to you? And what does product success mean as a builder of deep tech products? Maybe a few insights from you, please.
Yeah, that's actually a very interesting question, and I think the terms deep tech and in fact even product tend to get tossed around so much that sometimes it's difficult to understand really what is marketing and really what is the actual thing. To me personally, as a builder, a product, and especially a software product, is something that just runs in different environments without much configuration or code change. I think a lot of solutions talk about that, but essentially it's not just about gluing few things together. It is about innovating like 0 to 10. It's completely rethinking the way a particular thing is done. And also when we talk about deep tech, it is having done a lot of R&D and research to come to a stage where this innovation can actually be applied to enterprises or to whoever the consumer is. So to me, that is fundamentally how I kind of feel and identify deep tech products. Mythily, how about you? Would you like to add something to what I said, or in terms of just your experience as somebody who enables deep technology? What is your take here?
Sure. Thanks, Sonal. I think, like you rightly said, when we think about deep tech, we're always thinking about AI, ML, and nowadays Gen AI. But there is more to it, obviously, in terms of robotics. There could be drones. There could be the quantum computing. There are so many areas that is there with respect to deep tech. For me, all of this, you are, for example, Sonal, a builder of these products, which can be across many of these tech areas. Where I come from, I look at it this way: deep tech actually, while there is a lot of development and progress that is happening on deep tech, it also requires an ecosystem. So for me, it is a combination of science, engineering, and creative thinking, which forms this whole thing about deep tech. So while everybody focuses on the science and engineering, there's a creative thinking part as well, and the operations part as well, which is important. So I come in from the point of view of somebody who is enabling the, let's say, building the models, and also enabling somebody who will be adopting the models. So to me, deep tech is a combination of all of these, but requires the human in the loop aspect of it, and which everybody popularly calls as HITL. But the human in the loop part is very important for the building of the product, as well as being able to implement the product, which whatever the product may be. So, and many of these models work with what they call as RLHF, the reinforced learning with human feedback. So the algorithm itself, or the deep tech product itself, becomes more and more enhanced, better, richer when you have the human in the loop to provide the feedback. So while the first wave was all about automating the grunt work, I think now it is more a combination of humans and deep tech and what they call as co-pilots, right? Working together as co-pilots to enhance the application or uses that maybe any of these products may be put to. So humans still lead, but humans are leading with the support of the co-pilot, which is the deep tech product, to be able to come up with use cases, whether it's in quantum computing or AI/ML or any of these areas that we are talking about. So there has been a lot of talk to say that when things get automated, is a human in the loop gone? To me, it is not. It is like both of them are working together to enhance the innovation and accelerate the innovation that can happen with these products. So it's a combination of, you're a builder, there is a supporter that is required for the implementation of this product. But while we talk about this, what happens when we actually deploy the product? How does the implementation and adoption happen? I think that is where Roopa will be able to throw light on this, because she comes from an area where these products are actually being implemented and adopted and actually put to use in a real life situation. So Roopa, any thoughts on that?
Thank you, Mythily. So, in terms of adopting deep tech, we are having a watershed moment over the last few years, right? Lot of great technologies and products that are coming out in the market, whether they are vertical or horizontal products. For organizations, one of the most important thing is to be very clear on what I would call product definition. That is, how are you going to take the immense capability, whether it's in terms of the digital capabilities. We've seen a lot of amazing innovations in AI, big data, cloud computing. Mythily talked about the same in the material side through robotics, IoT, the list goes on. It's very important to be crystal clear on how can you leverage this technology to solve business problems. So, as a product platform, within at least the context I operate in, look at it in terms of two lenses. One is, how can we use this technology to solve customer experience touch points? I think we have good use cases emerging within the fintech and BFSI sector there. Whether it is having AI assisted bots for customer service, or using big data and AI ML capabilities to make advanced predictions for our customers to run business operations. Or most importantly, how can we use the power of cloud to again build a lot of cognitive services for customers to self-serve? Because I think more and more end users are becoming extremely savvy, and their needs have changed quite a lot relative to digital touchpoints, especially in the fintech space. So it's very important to be clear on how can you leverage those touchpoints to be able to make the transformation using the power of deep tech. So that's one view. The second one, and sometimes it's not talked enough about, but I will bring it up here, is how do we use the power of deep tech in particular for internal transformation, changing how you work? Because what the art of the possible we see with deep tech, specifically over the last 12, 18 months with regard to Gen AI, is how can we do what Mythily spoke about human in a loop, what I would refer as human-centered AI. How can we use that for, if you are running a product engineering unit, how can we use the power of tools to be able to drive developer experience, efficiency, so that as a developer, you focus more on the value-added work and then leverage the AI capability to do a lot of enabling functions, whether it's documentation, helping you with reusable artifacts. So that's one part. The second one within the internal transformation space is, how can we transform employee experience? Because as we scale as organizations, it becomes super important for people to learn about how they should work and scale within the organization. Again, great use cases that are emerging about transforming knowledge management expertise within organizations, having cues to be able to learn about something in context. Again, a multitude of use cases. So being very crystal about the customer experience touchpoints and internal transformation touchpoints is very critical. Now, the second thing, speaking about adoption, is validation. Because it's very easy for us to go into the lab and spend years and years of time figuring out these innovations. I think all of us know it's important to have a very rapid experimentation mindset. So quick proof of concepts, POCs and experiments to validate some of the use cases I mentioned are super critical for us to get ahead of the curve. Because without validation, I think one of the things that most organizations struggle with is last mile. That is, how do you as an organization embrace deep tech and scale your organization to adopt it? There, I would say the three things that at least come to my mind is, if you have a technology architecture, how is it architected to ingest all these capabilities? Whether it's thinking about your API layer, thinking about your data architecture to be able to get the best of breed, very important from a vision and a mandate point of view. The other thing that I would say is talent and skills. And I think that's where most organizations have to have a talent first mindset, have to invest in upskilling internal talent, but also very quickly work with ecosystem players like Mythily's organization to get the specialization you need to get the best out of the technologies. And last but not the least, it's a growing, evolving kind of a marketplace. So what is the governance and security protocols we need to think about to drive that adoption in a more sustainable, secure way? So those are all some of the key things that come up as we talk about adoption. Now, obviously, Sonal, Mythily, and I have talked about the art of the possible. Now I'll pass the ball back to Sonal to talk about what are some of those adoption challenges or readiness factors we need to build into our DNA to be able to make the best use of deep tech. Sonal, back to you.
Yeah, so that's a very interesting perspective that you have shared, and in fact, multiple perspectives, Rupa. So thank you very much for that. From my point of view, in terms of building a product and building a product that is fairly advanced, uh, we see customers kind of struggling with a few basic things, and which I think implemented well can actually lead to a very good experience and the ability to solve their own use case. So I think, Roopa, you mentioned, the readiness and the use case understanding, as well as really how it is going to be relevant in your own case. And that is something that obviously organizations, like, you can have a lot of things in front of you, but obviously one has to pick and choose what makes sense in their own relevant context. And that clarity and that vision definitely has to flow from the top. So that is one challenge we definitely see as, organizations who are building their fundamental data infrastructure, kind of when we talk to them about Zingg, or when they look at Zingg and they think that this is something that they want to use. Having the basic building blocks of data ingestion, of data transformation, need to be ready before they can do transformative AI and ML on top of their data. So yes, one is the mindset that has to happen in the organization to enable these use cases and to actually adopt deep tech. Second is the technical infrastructure that needs to be there, as you also pointed out, Rupa, which has to absolutely be there as the foundation, and that foundation has to be rock solid to be able to work across different kinds of APIs, different kinds of products, which transform the organization. So I think those are two critical things that we see. The third, in terms of skills, I think my view here is that, products should be built that people don't need a lot of specialized skills. I think that's the whole fun in building products, so that, people can concentrate on what they need to do as part of their business and not really learn a new tool or technology just to figure out some other problem that they need to solve. So my view here is, in terms of skills for the builders, yes, a lot of skills are needed. But for the user, I would say that, the product has to be so easy to use that it can just be seamlessly plugged into their ecosystem. Over to you, Mythily. Just interested to hear what you think about the whole scaling perspective, because you've done a lot of work there.
Yeah. So I think both of you brought out very valid points, and I've noted some of them. I think the biggest challenge as a builder of products for you, Sonal, and the implementer or adopter of products for you, Roopa, is the fact that you need to have the right talent, whether you're building the product, whether you're testing the product, and when you're implementing and adopting the product. So I think there are a few, and I think the biggest problem, therefore, is the talent and the right skill availability. And then Roopa, you also brought out the point about POCs and validation as well as governance. I think the biggest challenge is going to be the people that is available, or the talent that is available, and the right skills that are available, the right profile of people, the training that we will provide to them. Number one, which I'm putting all under one heading of talent. And second, I think, is going to be the models with which we operate, the people models with which we operate. So if you took a look at it from a builder perspective or from an adoption perspective, I think any model that we develop or any deep tech product that we develop first needs to be trained. That model needs to be trained. So for example, if you're talking about sunrise, for the model to be able to recognize sunrise, you have to feed it 10,000 sunrises for it to be able to understand. Of course, there are, nowadays there is more active learning and unsupervised learning, which is also taking away from the fact of feeding it so much of data, where it starts to learn on its own. And with latest Gen AI products, LLMs that are available, it is able to generate on its own and not really requiring that much of training data sets. However, when the product is actually deployed, or any of these algorithms are deployed, you need to validate the output. And the validation of the output, especially in an environment where you use active learning, the human in the loop part is important. The talent is very important. So one part is the training of the algorithms, which may or may not be required depending on whether you're following a unsupervised learning or active learning sort of an environment. Second is a validation of the output of that algorithm, for which you need people. And then when you actually deploy it in real time, like Roopa, you would do in terms of adoption of the product, is exception handling, right? So just to give an example, we do work with the organization which is similar to Amazon Go. You walk in, you pick up your product, you swipe with your mobile, and you walk out. Now, the algorithm at the back end, along with the IoT sensors, is figuring out what product that person is buying, and then is billing the person accordingly. So the building the product or the ML algorithm needs to be trained along with the IoT sensor output on what is the product which is being picked up from what shelf, which is where the human part of it comes in, and you need to have the supporter or the service organization doing that, which is the training the algorithm. Then what happens for the person walking out, you have to validate and see whether the ML algorithm has done the right billing and whether the billing has been done correctly or not. If not, you have to give the feedback back to the ML algorithm so that it learns in the process. Third, which is the real-time exception handling, which will happen when you really adopt it, is when you're walking out and you realize that in the validation process, the billing has been done wrongly, you need to handle that exception with that customer immediately. So from a talent perspective, the talent that would be from a people perspective and the talent perspective, you need someone who's able to do this training the model, validating the output of the model, and handling it in real-time exceptions. So with any deep tech product that is being developed, the services ecosystem becomes very important to be able to do this. Second is that any new product that you're building, I think Sonal, you mentioned that you need to, or I think Roopa, you mentioned, you need to build POCs and you need to fail fast and keep trying out multiple POCs to see which one would work. So we do work with one of the large top Fortune 100 top 5, one of the top 5 Fortune companies, where they're building multiple Gen AI algorithms which need to be tested in a real-time environment. So there are multiple POCs that are happening. So for the POCs, again, you need people who with the right sort of skills to be able to do these POCs at scale with speed and give the feedback. So that is the second part of it. Third part of it is the skills itself. While earlier the skills was all about saying that I'm training the algorithms, I give it 10,000 sunrises. But today we are talking about human the loop along with the Gen AI part acting as a co-pilot, so that you are giving it only 10 sunrises, but you're giving it certain ways and means of being able to figure out when it is why and when it is a sunrise. Right? So that is therefore the skill of the people that is required is just not pumping data, but being able to make sense for the algorithm out of the data that we are giving. So first is the talent availability. Second is the right skills. Third is the fact of models. No longer you have to look at people who are employees with whom you build deep tech products or you do the adoption. There are skills available all over and you want the right skills available. So probably there are models that can be through, let's say, crowdsourcing, gig workers, where you get the right skill for the right sort of environment from wherever they are to help you to work on the building the product or in terms of deploying the product. So I would say it's a combination of all of this. And last point is on the whole thing which Roopa brought out rightly in terms of governance. The governance part also becomes very, very important and critical in this whole thing. But while we are talking about these challenges, Roopa, when you're doing this adoption and implementation, what have you seen in terms of the challenges?
So I think the two key things I would talk about, I already talked about product definition, validation, and overall scaling of the enterprise to support it, right? I'll talk about more fundamental leadership and scaling related opportunities, right? One is to really adopt this kind of mindset that Mythily, you and Sonal have been talking about. I think it's very important to scale our engineering mindset to be extremely resourceful and open about the various tools available. And the great news is deep tech is no more the domain of certain large enterprises who are able to invest. We've seen amazing examples of startups which are building cutting edge technology. So being very resourceful about what kind of technologies, tools that are available. And I love the point that Sonal made, tools that can help you get up and running faster. right? If there is low code, no code involved, great tools of choice. So having our engineering leadership to start looking at those opportunities and looking at how they can use it to transform customer experiences or internal efficiencies. That's one. The second is for product management leaders out there. I think it's very important to recast your mindset to be able to start to think about how can we use some of these tools to change the way our platform interacts with our customers or their end customers. Again, being very, very savvy about usage of digital touchpoints, data, how you can leverage cloud where possible for ease of adoption is very important. So success metrics in this new world are going to look very different. For developers, it's going to be about using technology to do things faster, faster time to value. And then for product managers to start to look at these technologies to transform their customer experiences and the digital experiences they build. So I think changing their mindset of how they look at this technology as well as measure success are going to be very important, I think, enablers to really leverage this amazing technology that's out there. I think that's what would be two things I would close with. Again, bringing it all together, we've had a fairly eclectic panel here. So, as we were starting to put this segment together, each of us come with different personas. Sonal is a builder of deep tech products. So she highlighted some amazing insights around what it means to design deep tech software with customer experience in mind and adoption in mind. Mythily wonderfully outlined how ecosystems and skills and talent is important for us to catalyze that adoption. And hopefully I was able to cover how it means for an organization or enterprise to use the best of breed to make transformative changes in the market. So with that, we come to a wrap here. Really great to be part of the segment. Thank you, Mythily and Sonal, for being amazing co-panelists. Have learned a lot from both of you today and look forward to staying in touch. Thank you, everybody.